Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story TV and the Her Story podcast. This is Gertrude Matcha here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating entrepreneur and businessman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Hello, my name is John Owens. I'm based in the Bay of Islands, North Island, New Zealand, a little place called Paihia. There, I'm 71 years old, and I'm a business mentor, an author, and a spiritual voyager on this planet. So I'm enjoying all of those facets of my life. Where did my story start? In business at 71, I have to go back and say that I really started when I was going back maybe about 40 years, when computing was just coming into being, and I was working away at a small business who happened to have a very small computer. I went in and saw it working. I had no idea what I was doing, but within 6 months, I was writing programs on this computer for the business, for the firm, that they had not been able to do. The boss had been trying to do it for 5 years, and I thought, maybe I've got something here. And after about a year of doing that, I started working part-time for other people, doing computer programming in the evening after I'd finished my work for my full-time employers. And in that part-time working, I started to make more money than I was making in my full-time employment. And I thought, this is it. I'm going to go freelance. So that was the start of my entrepreneurial journey. And I managed to, at that time, I was based in South Wales in the United Kingdom, and was traveling all around little businesses in South Wales, helping them to computerize, helping them to simplify, helping them to streamline. And then I got the opportunity to travel to Holland, where somebody wanted me to do some what they call technical writing. And I got involved with a big oil and gas company, and met an amazing chap called Nicholas Hahn from Canada, who together, he and I modeled the whole of this oil and gas company in the Netherlands called NAM, N-A-M. And that model, which we did 40 years ago, then went on to become the standard model for all of Shell Oil's gas and oil companies around the world. And the thing about that is that it was immensely simple. We actually talked to, I think it must have been about 200 people, and we actually managed to simplify everything. And I found through going through this process, the power of simplicity. By simplifying, instead of looking, everybody in the oil and gas company were looking for all the complexity. They're always telling us, oh, this is a very complicated field. This is very complex. And yes, there are complicated things, but most of the complication was coming from the way people were doing things. And through this process, we were able to simplify and bring that immense simplicity and the power of that simplicity. And I stayed in computing for another 20 years, and again wrote a series of books on a technique that I called the integrated modeling method, which absolutely simplified all about computers, computing, data, and information, and got rid of all the complexity, because that's what people reveled in the computing world and the business world, was how complex things were. And they thought that the more complex it was, the higher they should get paid. They were afraid to see that really the job of any leader and any good business person, any good manager, is to find the underlying simplicity. The most important way, the most powerful way of doing anything is in the simplest way possible, because anything over and above the simplest way is adding complexity and for error. Then about 5 years ago, I got the opportunity. I felt that I could offer people more because I was dealing with large corporations and not always able to get to the right people in the large corporations in order to actually change the mindset of many people. And I started just through a great serendipity. I was at a business event with a wonderful young millionaire in Byron Bay. I was at his event, and we went out afterwards, myself and my partner, and some people from the event came in and sat across from us. We started chatting away, and one of them said, "A friend of mine in the Gold Coast, I think you could really help him." So I gave him a ring, and we actually got together with this wonderful entrepreneur on the Gold Coast who was simultaneously running 3 businesses that were turning over about $10 million, 10 million Australian dollars a year. So it was a wonderful little family business. I say little, but it's not bad at 10 million. But it was complex, and we were able to work with them and get to dial into what their values were, what they wanted, and more than just we want more money. It was what they wanted to bring to their team. They were very passionate about their team, and that made us passionate to work with them. And once again, we were able to bring the power of simplicity. They had 3 businesses, and they were trying to run them all out of one office. And it was very complicated. And we were able to sit down and model them. And we were able to actually, within about a week, we were able to get their whole business up onto one wall where they could actually see all of their 3 businesses and how they interrelated to each other, and how they could remove all duplication. So all of the things which happened in the 3 businesses, we will show them how they could bring together into one place and service all those 3 businesses much more efficiently. We were able to really, and the joy, the satisfaction that myself and Pam, my partner and business partner, got from this was seeing the scales fall away from people's eyes and saying, "Wow, this is simple. This is nice." And that's one of the gifts I have, is that I can see the underlying simplicity in any business, especially other people's. I mean, the only place I can be blind to it is when we're looking at our own business, and that is traditional blindness. Then the other thing, we then worked was about a little bit before that, we got the chance with a local entrepreneur in working in Wellington, and he was writing a book. And myself and again Pam, we sat down and we thought we loved what he was writing, but he was not really getting his energy and his message into the book. He started drifting into a lot of business jargon, and we knew by talking to him in person what his message was and what he had to carry. So we actually ghost wrote the book, got his ideas, then really turned to and we knew the power of what he was trying to get across. So we wrote that, and that book went out and became very successful. But we also learned a great deal from him, especially about family businesses. One of his favorite sayings was, "There's no such thing as a husband and wife in business." And what he made, when I first said this, I posted it on LinkedIn a few years ago, and many wives especially got on there and said, "How dare you say that? Is me and my husband, we have been in business for so many years, and we are definitely, there are husbands and wife in business." What he meant was, by that saying, and what I meant when I was putting it in LinkedIn, was that is not your role in the business. In the family, the role is husband, the role is wife. The role may be mother, there may be father. But in business, there's no such thing as husband, wife, or mother or father, or son or daughter. In businesses, everybody must have a business role. And this also means that the head of the household may not necessarily be the best head of the business. I've seen this in many places where, in fact, say the father, for example, and it can tend to be the father who thinks that if they're going to go into business, sees himself as the head of the household, he then should be the head of the business. And he could be that he is in fact a fantastic cook, a fantastic baker. They want to open the business baking, cooking. But really, he is best placed in the kitchen, doing what he's really, really good at. And the business itself could often be better managed by his wife, who's much better business acumen and business skills, because that's what the business is about, is his cooking, baking skills. And the sons and daughters can quite often have such good business skills in sales, marketing, etc., that they, in fact, if they had a business hierarchy, would be up there at the same level as the parent. So there's no such thing as a husband and wife in business, or mother and father. There are professional business people, and the relationships in business are professional relationships. Yes, a good, healthy family relationship, if it exists, can add to that, but it should not be there instead of that. So that was the next thing we were able to bring to people. And over the past 5 years in mentoring people in one-to-one businesses has been really able to help them to connect with their passion and realize that one of the most important things to be doing in business is working at something they're passionate about. Because then I know for myself, when I'm working at something I'm passionate about, I become truly authentic because I can connect with it. I don't have to then play the role of somebody who's very interested, very good, and an expert in an area, which I have been in many areas where I really have done, and as I say, written books, etc. But I was good at it, but I wasn't passionate about it. Now, what I'm passionate about is sharing my knowledge and the things I've learned with other people. And all of the things I've learned have come from other amazing people. I've been just given my gift, I suppose, in a way, is identifying all these things and bringing them together. I've been able to, yes, bringing all from all different sorts of backgrounds, different types of businesses, to actually bring them together into a unified, simple, powerful way of doing things. And by bringing that simplicity, I've been able to free people up so that they can now concentrate on the creativity, which is the creativity and their passion. And that's where they really soar. So I love seeing it as being that means of liberating and setting free. So whenever we get to family business, initially they think that structure is like a straitjacket, and structure is far from it. Structure is like the skeleton of our bodies. It's there to support it, But our bodies are much more than the structure. The structure enables our bodies to operate much more effectively. It enables us to do all the things we would love to do, all the things we're capable of doing. And the structure makes it simple so we don't waste all that time in wasted effort and stress. Because when things are not done in the easiest possible way, it means they're being done in a way that is harder than is necessary. That brings wasted time, wasted money, wasted opportunity, wasted energy, and wasted spirit. So you look for that simplicity. That's what. So that's my passion now, is bringing that simplicity. And at the moment, I'm in the process of getting all of the books that I wrote about these business modeling methods. up and published in Kindle, in both ebook and printed format. So they're now going to be available where people can pick them up, read them online, or have them as a collection. They're coming out as a series of 7 over the next couple of months. We'll have 7, a box set of 7 that'll complete the whole of this simple but powerful processing, business process and business system. So there we are. And
Wow.
I hope that told you something about me.
What an incredible journey you've been on, John. One of the things that strikes me the most is how you describe yourself as a spiritual voyager. Never heard anyone in business express things in this way. How
It,
so are you a spiritual voyager? Describe that to me.
I do believe that I'm I'm a spiritual being in human form. So I do believe that. And I first, I suppose, came to realize that after reading Conversations with God by Donna Neil Walsh. And I thought, initially, I thought, oh, this is weird. But then I thought, no, it really is. And so I am a spirit. Yeah, I'm having a spiritual being having a human adventure. And the other thing I loved about it was that by my life here on earth, I enable my inner spiritual being to know itself experientially. And I thought, wow, that's exciting. That means you know, I'm there at the leading edge. So even all the things that I may groan and moan at and think this is not fair, it's actually so my spiritual being is not moaning and groaning. It's growing and knowing itself experientially. So by the spiritual voyage, I used to always think the that spiritual perfection was the aim, and I really realized, and again only over the past 5 years, that I I'm no longer striving for perfection in my spiritual journey, because that means I couldn't grow anymore. Um, if I'm perfect, there's no room for growth, so there's no enjoyment. And the spiritual journey is much more important than trying to arrive at spiritual perfection. It's much more enjoyable. And I especially came agree to this when I was told Abraham Hicks and Esther Hicks was one recording she was doing. It was on a tour going out of Vancouver and talking about the journey is important, not the destination. And people say, no, it's the destination. And he said, well, all of you are on this cruise. Where did you set out from? They said,
Yes.
Vancouver. And where will you get when you finish the journey? Vancouver. So if the destination is all that's important, why bother with this journey? Go
Yes.
home now. And then I realized, it is the journey.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. You're quoting people whose books I've read, Neil Donald Welsh, Abraham Hicks, all to do with energy and where we put our focus, the law of attraction.
Yes,
Fantastic. So you have lived a life where you simplify processes by the sound of it to me. You
yes,
seem to be somebody who's wired to be able to break things down and explain them in a very, very simple way. Now, if I could take you back, let's pretend that time is an illusion. Time is a construct that we have put together as human beings. So we get to work at 9 o'clock in the morning and finish at 5. But if time didn't exist and you could go back to that young man who was starting his career, picking up this thing called a computer, not even sure what it was, but now we know, and is one of the most powerful technological inventions ever. If you could go back and give that young man 3 nuggets of wisdom based on what life has taught you, this podcast attracts a lot of youth who are feeling lost, they don't know what to do with their careers, what 3 nuggets of wisdom could you share?
I suppose the first one, and probably won't want to hear this, but it is the journey is important. The journey is enjoyable. Uh, the act of growing is important. The one thing I hated doing when I was setting out was getting things wrong. I thought I always had to be right. Um, and now I've learned that, in fact, if I'm always right, there's no room for growth. So by always trying to be right, I could never admit I was wrong. If I wasn't wrong, I could never learn. And I have seen times in the past when there was something I didn't know, and I didn't want to ask because I had to admit I didn't know, and it stopped me learning. So that's the first one. First of all, yeah, you don't have to know everything. It's actually find your passion, find something. And that's what I was passionate about when I got connected. Find something I was good at. I really connected with computing because I learned the simplicity. I, I, and serendipity. I'll just quickly go through this. I started working with computing. I saw this computer. Nobody told me how it worked. I had to read the book. They said, it'll tell you in this book. I read that book 7 times before I understood any one thing. But before I read the book, about a week before, I'd finished a book called Use Your Head by the guy who invented mind mapping. And he in there said, on a technical book, do not read it in detail, scan. 7 times I understood one thing, and that was just 5 lines. And from those 5 lines, because I had approached it, I built a career. It's amazing. So I started with something very simple, but I connected with the passion. Find something you're passionate about and be willing to learn. Don't be afraid of getting it wrong. That's the second one. Don't be afraid of getting it wrong, because by getting it wrong and not being afraid, don't see getting it wrong. It's not getting it wrong. It's really, I know it's an awful thing. People say there's no, it's not a mistake. It's a learning opportunity. I hated people saying that, but really it is. So we could find a better way of saying it. But don't be afraid of mistakes. I was, and it really held me up until I was able to say, I'm wrong. And the other one was that work with your passion, the money will come. I was obsessed about earning money. I thought money would make me happy. What I've learned is the reason I thought money would make me happy was because it would make me feel good. So what I really wanted was to be able to feel good, to be able to feel secure. Uh, and I can do that now. I About 20 years ago, I was earning the most money I'd ever earned, and I was feeling the most insecure I'd ever felt. I actually bought a big house. I furnished it. I decorated. And then I had burglar alarms everywhere because I became so obsessed that people were going to come and take it away from me. So having all the money did not make me feel good. It actually made me feel nervous because now I had more to learn, more to lose. So what I was looking for money was feeling good. Now I realize that's an inside job. Is money nice? Of course it's nice. But now I find the money comes when I'm feeling good. It's contradictory, is to say, show me the money and then I'll feel good. But actually, if I can't feel good, I don't get the money because what I'm putting out there is not a wealth. It's a lack. It's a want, and and even now I have to remind myself of this because I can get into that lack and thinking, oh, yeah, if only I had this or that. So there. I don't know if there's just 3 or more, but that's the thing I would say. You know, find something you're passionate at. Do that. Find something you're good at. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. And the money, if you're working in your passion, you're good at something, the money will come.
Fantastic. Now, let me teleport you into the future with my last question, or second to last. If, again, time was an illusion, you're now 100 years old, You're sitting in your rocking chair, surrounded by your children, your dogs, your cats, and you're reflecting back on your life. If I could take you to the future and you could have a conversation with 100-year-old you, based on how you're living your life right now, what would you say to him?
I would say it's been an adventure, and I wouldn't say it's been an adventure. I would say it is still an adventure, because being 100 is achieving something, and I plan. I think I plan but my feeling is I'm at least 104. I want to live to at least 104, and I still want to be doing things then. And I don't mean sort of rushing about doing things. Yeah, it's not about the doing. It's not about the doing, because we are called human beings. It's about the being. We're not called human doings. So it's about the being. And in that, I am doing things now, but I am being me. That's the important thing. The things I'm doing now allow me to be the authentic me, and that's really good. So it's all about the being. But the problem is in life and in business and the Western culture, it's all about doing, and we put up monuments to people who do things, and we put up monuments to people who do the hardest things or do things the hardest way. You know, uh, it's really, I would say it's all about going with the flow. And from now to the 100, my ambition now is to learn to go with the flow, to trust my instincts. Uh, and it doesn't mean sitting and fading away, far from it. You know, I fill my days with things I'm passionate about. I connect with things. I want to bring more of me and connect with more of people, and get more and more productive, but productive with a passion. So is that at 100, I'm still looking forward and thinking, well, maybe we could have another 30 years.
And with science being what it is, I think that's very, very possible, John. It's just
Yeah.
very possible.
Yeah. I think it is.
So,
We are a good pharmacopoeia inside us. So, you know, I'll get my body to generate all those magical elixirs I need.
oh, I love it. So, if I have left anything out, what should I have asked you and I didn't?
I think no, I think you've answered. I love the approach, and I really feel that you've helped me to actually be able to go nicely through that journey. And yes, we the process that you have here is quite amazing. It allowed me to connect with my passion and hopefully convey that passion. And I hope if there is people out there that can pick up anything I've said, pick up those gems, um, take away the things you like, leave the rest behind, and don't just listen to me, because there are lots of other people who will say things in ways that might resonate more with you. But pick them up, and it's like going along and picking up diamonds on the beach. They may, people just think they're seashells. They're not. They're amazing gems, and the beaches, pick them up. It's quite amazing, and even a walk on the beach can be amazing adventure.
Oh, I love that. So, John, how can people get hold of you? What is the best place to find you? Is it on LinkedIn? Do you have a website?
Yeah, I have a website. It's called Kiwi, KIWI hyphen, that's a middle dash, dreams, like I dream at night, .co.nz. And of course, I am on LinkedIn, and I would love to connect with people on LinkedIn.
Okay, so let me share your website at the bottom of the screen. Have I got it right?
You have
Kiwi
indeed.
Dreams. Awesome. John, thank you so much for this interview. Thank you for the inspiration today. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in. The Her Story movement is attracting some pretty phenomenal people. People who think outside the box, who bring their knowledge and their wisdom and share. So come back again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And John, thanks again for this interview.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye for now, everybody.